So just to give us a little bit of a context, when you look at your internal operations, what percentage of your workloads are you guys running on the cloud now?
So we were born in the cloud company, so we're very fortunate in the fact that we started with somewhat of a clean sheet, and we're able to pretty much start in the cloud. So with the exception of some very small services, we're actually at about a 95+%. It's part of our guiding principles that it's a cloud first service that we move with.
Does that include private cloud and public cloud?
It is. It's primarily public in the terms of SaaS services that we bring together in an interoperability is key to our what we call our reference architecture. So it's made up of lots of different cloud services. Some of those are very specialty services that do a very specific function, and some of those are services that do more broader sets of functions, more of a stack of functions. And then we have a relatively smallish cloud footprint for a private cloud footprint. Yeah.
So in generally speaking, what do you consider to be some of the big challenges that CIOs are facing now as they continue to migrate workloads to the cloud?
I think that there are a couple of things. I think first off, cloud is proven. I think that sort of getting into the debate of, unless it's religious belief as to why not move to the cloud, I mean, it's proven to be the way to have agility, speed, access to constant innovation, highly scalable, capacity you need it. You have capacity when you need it. Reliability, our overall service levels are higher. Innovation is more faster, and so I think that cloud from those aspects has proven to be the way forward. And I think that the challenges come down to two parts. I think first off, really thinking through the strategy of the how. A lot of organizations figure out what they need to do and why they need to do it. It's like, okay, I know what my destination in the cloud is. I know what sets of services I need to go after, but I have to migrate from an existing set of services that may be more on-premise or directly operationally owned. And so I think there's two parts to that. I think first off, it's the strategy for the how. Too often people will bring a value proposition based on what we need to do and why we need to do it, and then they figure out once the program has been approved, the how part. And the how needs to have a real thoughtful strategy to it, because in some cases there are certain roles that people were doing previously that don't exist in this new sets of services. Maybe it's operational roles, or maybe it's the way that people were running operations previously are now changing. That's the change management aspects. And I think the challenges often come down to the cultural sets of changes that might need to occur and organizational changes. What we do find, of course, in a cloud world is that you significantly reduce the direct operational overhead and responsibilities that you had in the existing sort of legacy environment. And when you have the direct operational responsibility shrinking, that actually is the give back of time to your organization to spend on higher value work. The problem is that you got to get people maybe in certain roles into new roles, and people that are entrenched in their behaviors of how they work and operate, working in a different way. That's the biggest challenges for me. It's not that cloud is not better. It's just that people resist because of the disruption that it's causing to their existing functions.
Is that part of the cultural shift that we were talking about that's required to really fully embrace cloud?
It can be. Yeah, it can be. I used to use this term called the frozen middle, which is like this middle part of the organization that gets very entrenched in the way it thinks, operates, and behaves. And when you look to drive change, you are looking to inject tension into the organization. And when you inject that tension into the organization because of change, often it can react with a resistance. And if that resistance is too much, programs fail, people give up, and things slow down. And then you get into this unfortunate sort of circle of just not moving forward at a pace that the organization is looking for, and you end up with impatience, right? It's like our digital transformation, our move to the cloud is too slow, it's not happening fast enough. And ironically, in an organization that has a lot of what I would call sort of traditional or legacy environments, for the things that don't strategically differentiate you. See, the thing in the new world is it's all about speed to differentiating value. And how do you get speed to differentiating value? You know, I like to say change is mandatory. It's the suffering that's optional. And really, the reality of it is that you know, if you don't, you become irrelevant. And that's what I see happen with organizations today. I don't see organizations get disrupted by technology. If you look at all the disruptions that have been going on over the last 20 years, and we've lost 50% of the Fortune 500 in the last 20 years, it's more than one a month. And the reason for that is not driven by technology, it's enabled by technology. But if you look at the companies themselves, they think differently, operate differently, business model different. They have a different business model, different business operations, and a different way of thinking. And if you compare the two, that's what the biggest disruptor is. It's the new sort of digital company is thinking and behaving differently. And how do you get the existing organization to start thinking and behaving differently?
Hope you heard a few things that triggered some new thinking for you. We do these conversations on IT topics weekly, so please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you get updates on new content, as well as you can post comments and, more importantly, suggest topics that you'd like us to address. You can see that we have some pretty amazing resources. So please let us know how we can help you on your upcoming digital transformation and enterprise IT projects. Thanks very much. Until next time.